Go.
Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. I am Kel McDonald and I make comics you can read at kelmcdonald.com.
And I am Alina Pete, and I make comics that you can read at alinapete.com. I think. I don't have audio for you on my side. Give me 1 second. What the heck's going on?
That is a shame because your people should hear my nice shiny mic.
No, they are. Now we got audio. That's good.
Okay.
Your mic is very crystal clear. It's nice.
What have you been up to since Emerald City?
It has been a big week for me. So, I got back from Emerald City, and then I immediately had to go into like major animation crunch mode for this project for CBC, which is Canada's like broadcasting service. They are doing a thing called Canada Reads, where they take 6 books by Canadian authors and get like a Canadian celebrity to review them and then debate them to like promote literacy. One of the books is Kate Beaton's Ducks, which is amazing. And I'd hoped I was like, oh, I want to animate that one, but of course they had an animator already lined up for Kate because Kate has worked with someone before. So I got the book Station 11, which is really cool. It's like a post-apocalypse Canada. After a huge plague, actually. This was written pre-COVID. And so I did the trailer for that.
That name sounds familiar, so I'm not surprised that you're reviewing it because I've at least heard of it.
They got me because they are the guy who's promoting it is native, Michael Grey Eyes, who is a relation by marriage to me, in fact, which is kind of fun.
Okay.
So I'm related to everyone in Saskatchewan. Anyway, everyone native. Anyway. But also because like a major plot point is that there's these comic books that were independently published back in the late 90s, early 2000s that this girl has found, and they're like, that's the secret for rebuilding the world, is comics. So they were like, we need somebody who could draw a comic style. And I was like, well, that's me. I can do that. So I immediately went into like the moment I got home from Emerald City, the very next morning without no rest in between. I just like, right, 16-hour crunch days, let's go.
Yeah. Sounds familiar.
Yup. So that's where I was last week, and then got that done, got that turned in so they could do sound editing. It'll actually be running starting tomorrow on CBC. So you'll be able to go and see the trailers live, and then they'll start doing, like, on CBC, like, debates nightly until they choose Canada's best book.
I started using the treadmill again and accidentally gave myself blisters this morning.
No!
Yeah.
Foot blisters?
Yeah. Because I have a treadmill at home, and I walk on it barefoot.
Yeah.
Because theoretically that is better for your knees.
Yes.
And strengthens your ankles.
So I've heard.
Yeah, but your feet don't like it.
Yeah, you gotta get some calluses. Gotta callus up that foot.
It's also interesting because it lets you know exactly where all the imbalances in your foot are.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's where you get a blister.
And you're like, damn it. I have discovered that my pinky toe on my left foot is too close to the other toes because it will both blister itself and the toe above it. It kind of like folds under the other toes.
Your shoes are too tight.
Maybe.
And you need to walk around barefoot to get monkey feet.
Good, I can do that.
That's apparently one of the things, the side effects of walking barefoot more is your feet get wider because they're not pushed into your shoes.
Right. Don't squish your feet.
And my feet are already really wide.
I have
so this might
just the tiniest feet, just teeny tiny narrow little feet.
I have tiny wide feet. It's one of those things where if they were just tiny or if they were just wide, it would be less of a problem. But
Yeah, you could find shoes.
Tiny and wide. So last time I got sneakers, I had to get them custom ordered.
Whoa, gotcha.
Because they do not carry my size in the shoe store.
Boo. I can sometimes buy shoes at kids' stores because I have teeny tiny feet.
I would probably be able to do that if my feet weren't wide. I have 6.5 double feet.
Gotcha. I have 5.5, just normal, just whatever.
So now everyone can update FootWiki.
Yeah, because I was just thinking that WikiFoot.
Yeah.
Let's add that to our WikiFoot listings for all y'all out there.
Yeah.
I really like living in Vancouver because there are a lot of stores here that import directly from China, which means I can find really cute shoes in my size, actually. Because shoe sizes there are generally smaller. And then, another big thing this week, I got my award for the Indigenous Voices. Imagining Indigenous Futures. Yeah, it's a writing award. They had a conference in Orlando over the weekend, and I was like kind of regretting that I didn't try to go there because some of my favorite authors were there this year. Like N.K. Jemisin was there doing panels, and I was like, oh shit, I would love to meet her. And also I could have received my award in person, but then I would have had to go to Florida.
And who wants to do that?
Yeah. I was like, and I just got back from Seattle. I don't know if I want to go anywhere. And especially not Florida. The birding, I've heard, excellent, but the COVID levels, very bad.
Very bad. But yeah, so I was sick right before Emerald City, so I had like even more shit to catch up on. Before when I got back from Emerald City, just all the work.
Yeah, it's been a busy time.
I also watched some movies.
Ooh, good. I watched a few as well.
One was a lot better than I expected.
Huh.
And one was as what I expected, but that's because I went in fully spoiled.
Oh, gotcha.
The one that was what I expected is Tar, starring Kate Blanchett.
Oh yeah, I'd heard that's quite good.
It's very good, and it's also, if you really want to see Kate Blanchett abuse people,
yes,
that's the movie for you.
Good.
Because basically, do you know the plot?
Vaguely, just from like pre-Oscar buzz on the circuit, that it's like this like really talented not composer. Come on, brain.
Conductor.
There's the word. Yeah, and she's like super brilliant, but also very just an asshole.
To
a lot of people.
The thing is that she's a world famous conductor and is kind of like a control freak.
Yeah.
Which is maybe why she wanted to be a conductor in the first place. But she's gotten to this great position in her career and is very famous in the concert circles, but has groomed and abused multiple young concert musician ladies.
Yeah.
And the inciting incident, it's interesting because it's like kind of about cancel culture, but kind of not.
Interesting.
because she gets canceled for two different things. And what I think is interesting is that one of her cancellations, while it creates buzz online, and makes 20-somethings shit all over her on Twitter, career-wise, that has no consequences for her.
Yeah.
The inciting incident in the movie that does have career consequences for her is one of her groomed exes that she like abused and then discarded when she found a new model, basically. Killed herself.
Oh, gotcha.
And because this student had wealthy parents, there are consequences for that, but there aren't really any from the other like ridiculous things that she does.
Right. I had heard that it was interesting because there's been so many movies about like the male problematic genius. Like there's endless movies about like, oh, a tortured genius man is awful to people around him, and this is like one of very few examples of non-male in that role. But it's still essentially the same story.
It was originally written to be about a dude, and then the director was like, well, what if Cate Blanchett played this person instead?
Yes, correct. Good choice.
Which does make it a more interesting movie, because it's like, if it had been about a dude, then it's not even tortured genius narrative who's awful.
Right.
It's literally just like the cliche of the boss fucking all his secretaries.
Yeah.
So if it was about a man, it kind of would have been a cliche.
Also, it's a very different movie in the post like Me Too Hollywood climate, where it's like we're gonna kind of glorify, but sort of not, this guy who's basically Me Tooing all the people he who are also, his juniors.
What I think is interesting is in the movie, it starts with her getting interviewed, and she dismisses the fact, like, she basically is like, sexism over. I didn't have a hard time. All these other ladies having a hard time.
I know what they're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just not talented enough, because I didn't have any barriers.
Right.
But then she has a student in like the very next scene who doesn't want to play Bach or conduct Bach because Bach is a misogynist. And so this non-binary person is like, as a BIPOC, I forget how they describe their gender, but they're basically genderqueer.
Yeah.
They're like, I just don't think I can take anything that Bach said about his music being about love seriously, because he had such a shitty view of the world.
Right.
And then she trots out that she's a lesbian, like, while arguing with him. So it's
like to win her argument.
Like her identity is, she only uses it when it's to her advantage.
Yeah. That is very emblematic of somebody who's always been in a place of privilege. I imagine like the character came from like rich parents, and that's why they wound up as this like incredibly privileged conductor.
Well, they do make a point that she does not actually have rich parents. She
so it's like
changed her name and pretended that she didn't come from New Jersey, and like
gotcha.
So it's kind of like that's how controlling she is about her image. So she would actually like you to think that she maybe had wealthy parents.
Right. But she's like, no, I was, fascinating.
It's a very interesting movie because by making it Kate Blanchett, it becomes less of the cliche story and more about people abusing power in general.
Yeah.
Um,
I find it fascinating when filmmakers do that sort of at the last moment. They'll like, hey, we should cast maybe not just a white dude in this role. Like Salt, where they were like, what if we did like a James Bond movie, and then at the last minute we're like, oops, nope, it's Angelina Jolie instead. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, this would have been a very boring spy movie, because it's like literally like the partner gets fridged, and that's what like motivates him to go on his like, I gotta right wrongs. Except now it's a woman whose like awesome husband gets killed, and you're like, holy crap, whoa, no, because he's presented in like he was written to be a female character, so he's all the like, oh yeah, I'll stay home. I'm really into like cooking and music and the kids and all that kind of stuff. And you're like, this would be a very boring story if this was a dude spy and his wife who got fridged, because we've seen that a million times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's and then the movie that exceeded my expectations is Palm Springs.
Oh yeah?
Which is a movie that came out on Hulu at the beginning of the pandemic.
Huh.
So I don't know how a Canadian would watch it.
Piracy.
But
on the high seas.
It stars Andy Samberg, which is why I had low expectations for it.
Right.
The plot, it's a Groundhog Day plot.
Oh, okay.
The twist being that it's two people. Because at the beginning of the movie, Andy Samberg has already been in the Groundhog Day cycle for fucking forever.
Excellent.
And he sleeps with the other main character. And then gets shot with an arrow by a random guy. And then he falls into like, I guess when he repeats his cycle, he falls into a time vortex. And
Cool.
The other character, because she's near him, also ends up in the time vortex.
She gets like sucked in too.
Well, because she's like, he, after getting shot, like, makes his way to the vortex, because that way he doesn't die slowly. He can, if apparently he can speed up when he jumps to the restart,
Gotcha.
if he goes in the vortex. But because he's injured, she's like, what are you doing? Like, you're bleeding. You need to go to the hospital.
I'll help you.
and she accidentally gets sucked in the vortex too.
That's interesting. And now they're stuck in there together.
And now they're both in the Groundhog Day.
But it's in Palm Springs, right?
Yeah, they're there for a wedding. So it's
Oh,
basically,
gotcha.
The way he ends up hooking up with her is apparently she didn't realize that the maid of honor has to read a speech because it's her sister getting married.
Oh, okay.
And so she doesn't have anything prepared. So what he does is he interrupts the speeches and makes a speech of his own that is super beautiful, and covers for the fact that she doesn't have a speech.
Gotcha. Everyone else forgets about it.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's basically they're just repeating the day of her sister's wedding over and over again.
Oof.
You find out that the dude that shot him is someone who is also trapped in the time vortex.
Oh, really?
And occasionally, and blames Andy Samberg for him getting stuck in the time vortex.
Good.
So occasionally he just hunts Andy Samberg.
That's just a thing that you do.
And he's just murdered him a bunch of times.
Why wouldn't you? To
yeah.
maybe end their Groundhog Day situation.
No, he knows that it doesn't help. He just
good. He's
is
just
mad
angry.
and
Good.
wants to take it out. He
Excellent.
just wants to hurt Andy Samberg.
He's like, I can just do infinite murder on this one man.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, basically.
Ideal. This is what I wanted out of life.
And that's J.K. Simmons hunting him, so it's
Gotcha.
good casting there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it was real funny because since there's two people, it's them spending a lot of time together.
Yeah. Now you're trapped with this person for maybe infinity. Who knows?
Yeah, and so at first they like just goof around. Like they use their time loop powers for stuff like they walk into a bar and do an elaborate dance performance perfectly in sync, and then just leave and don't say anything.
Excellent.
So it's they're doing stuff like that.
Good. A very good use of a temporal distortion.
Yeah. So
I approve.
and they're starting to like get to know each other. So their philosophies sort of clash because you have as they're getting to know each other, because Andy Samberg, as person who has been stuck in the infinite time loop where nothing matters, she tries to open up to him about like her past, and he's like, nope, nothing outside the time loop matters.
Yeah.
Everything before doesn't matter. We're just here.
We don't need to think about the outside world.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, fair if you've been caught in a time loop for long enough.
Yeah. But the thing is like she can't forget like the past right before the time loop, because she does not wake up in her own bed. At the beginning of the time loop. And
gotcha.
you don't find out who she slept with until like the end of the movie.
Huh.
She slept with the groom.
Of course. Yep. Gotta have that trope in there.
So, while Andy Samberg wakes up next to his girlfriend that he knows is cheating on him every morning.
Oh, good. Good.
She wakes up every morning next to
her sister's
soon-to-be husband.
That's a choice.
And then Andy Samberg and her sleep together, and because they've gotten close, she freaks out a little bit. And he also freaks out because of intimacy that he hasn't had for a long time.
Right, because people don't carry forward from day to day.
And but then her freak out results in he can't find her ever. Like the rest of the time loops, like she's waking up early enough that he never knows where she goes.
Interesting.
Because since she's not in her room, he doesn't actually know
where she is
every morning.
Right. And boy, is that a reveal.
So it takes him a while to figure out exactly where she slept the night before the wedding.
Yeah.
And he realizes that he doesn't want to keep living eternity without her. And that he loves her because it's a comedy. Comedies always end with couples getting together.
Yeah, gotta.
I forget where I heard it, but someone said tragedies always end in death and comedies always end in marriage.
Yep.
And then you find out what she's been doing when she like kept disappearing.
Right.
It turns out she was grabbing someone's laptop and hanging out in a diner that has Wi-Fi and taught herself astrophysics.
Oh, cool. Yep.
so she can break the time loop.
I was just gonna say, that's a really smart thing to do if you were stuck in a temporal anomaly. Is figure out how to physics your way out of it.
It's also funny because at first when she tries to get out of the time loop, she's like, well, on Groundhog Day, being a good person broke the time loop, so
yeah, maybe if we do some good deeds.
No, so you have her being selfless for a day, which includes confessing to her sister what she did. And she just whispers it to her sister, like, so the audience doesn't know. Before the vows are said, so Andy Samberg doesn't know what she did.
Right.
And then she leaves, and then she's upset because the time loop still
did not
afterwards.
Yeah. And she's like, what? But I did it.
I did good deeds.
I confess to my problems. Yikes.
It's also the guy that J.K. Simmons' character, who is hunting Andy Samberg. It turns out the reason why he was mad at Andy Samberg is because he has kids. So it's like, because of Andy Samberg's character, he's never going to see his kids grow up.
Oh, gotcha. Because he's stuck in the damn time loop.
Yeah.
I like that his solution.
J.K. Simmons occasionally hunt Andy Samberg is a great choice for the movie.
That's very fun.
Yeah. But yeah, it was really funny, and it was also like very like sweet and poignant. And I did not expect that of an Andy Samberg movie.
Yeah, that's a new one. Cool.
And then I looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes, and it has a 97% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
Yeah.
An Andy Samberg movie.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
In other news, the page I'm drawing is in a sad divorced man's apartment.
Oh, good.
And I was trying to think of things to put in a sad divorced man's apartment.
Yep.
And my buddies, Iris and Nero, who we watch BattleBots with,
yes,
sent me a link to malelivingspaces.txt.
Oh, good.
And just
is it a whole vibe? There's some serious
in like awful house design, like
oh boy,
apartments.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I was just like, this is one of the genius ones is a barbell bench.
Yep.
That has dirty clothes on top.
Oh yeah. Oh, there you go. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Bought it to deal with the like midlife crisis of being broken up with and divorced. Never uses it. It's now to dry clothing.
Yeah, and I put some pizza boxes on there too.
Good.
And here's a poster of girls making out with each other.
Yep.
I also just watched Vox Machina.
Yeah. Season 1 or season 2?
Watched that?
Season
1.
Okay, here I think I've said this before on this stream, but I did not expect to be super into Vox Machina. I was like, I'll check it out. It's D&D based. I'm not really into the Critical Role stuff. I've seen some of the like highlights, but you know, watching a D&D game that someone else is playing is not the same as playing in one. So I don't know, to keep my interest. Love Vox Machina. It's like one of the best animated series out there right now. Season 2 is even better.
They did
I'm really into it.
Good job of, because I tried to watch Critical Role, and whenever they had fights, I mentally checked out.
Same too. D&D combats are boring when you're a player. I don't want to watch someone else's D&D combat. It's double boring.
Yeah. So, but the animation,
so
I
good.
think they did a good job of like cleaning up the story.
Well, okay, so that's the thing. So D&D games are like a way to generate a really cool story, but you have to wade through a lot of really uninteresting stuff first. So by having done this thing where they're like, hey, let's tell the stories of these characters that we built over like 3 years of play, but let's only tell the good bits, and let's rearrange some of the bits to make stuff make more sense. It's like having really workshopped a story before you then present it at an animation pitch meeting. Like, I'm just like, this is a tight story. It's real fucking good. They're hitting all these big character beats. Good job.
The one thing I think is missing that I want from my fantasy stories is a theme or a metaphor to latch on to. Like, it is fun to watch. I just feel like it's all surface level fun, and there isn't like a interesting, like, it's no everything everywhere all at once.
Yeah. But it's sort of like getting to know the characters. I know they went a little harder on that on season 2 rather than season 1. And I was like, I did not expect to love these random characters so much, but they are delightful, and I do like them. Good job, everyone.
I do think, like, I understand why there's so many characters. I think for season 1 there is just slightly too many characters.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's a really ambitious game because most APs I know don't play well with more than 4 players in them. It's just it's a lot to manage 4 players. Managing 6 or 8 is ridiculous as a GM. Having run games myself, 4 is maybe 5 is my preferred group size.
Yeah. So it's just like maybe slightly too many people in the cast. But I understand, like, that's how many people were originally in the game.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like, hey, we're a bunch of friends, let's meet up every once in a while.
Yeah.
Because we don't see each other outside jobs. And let's play some D&D. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
And then they were actors and they were very good at it. And they're like, what if we had some production budget on this?
Yeah.
They really zhuzhed it up a bit. And it's good. It's very good. I love that they basically just went to an animation studio and were like, Avatar The Last Airbender? Just give us that. Give us exactly that character design style. Like, I swear you could take Scanlan's expression sheet and just line it directly up to Sokka's.
No, because I feel like it's a little bit of Avatar, but a little bit of the new Castlevania.
I haven't seen that one.
It's not that good. You're not missing anything.
Gotcha.
Just art style wise, they're a little bit more angular than Avatar.
A little bit, yeah.
People.
A little bit.
And I feel that comes from Castlevania. Castlevania has a problem of where I kept feeling like I missed an episode. So there are like. So an example is in the second season, they've done all the first season stuff, and Alucard has joined the team that was originally just Belmont and this mage lady whose name I forget.
Right.
And mage lady is going off to do a thing, and she tells them to behave, and then Belmont is like, what are we, children? And she's like, and then she leaves, and as soon as she leaves, I forget who says it first, but one of them says to the other, I hate you, you should die, and like something like that like seems out of nowhere because he just joined the team right before the season 1 finale, and
Right.
we haven't established that these two always fight.
Right. This is the first time it kind of comes out of nowhere.
Like, it makes sense that they would fight because they're the Ray's demon hunter and the half vampire, but like, it's still like we could have built that banter up, and then like a few episodes later, it turns out both the dudes have feelings for the mage lady, and it's a little bit like, where did that come from? So yeah, so it's kind of like they're trying to rush, they're skipping character stuff to rush to the cool action scenes.
Right. Which are cool. I think I've seen some highlights from there of like this really like intense action sequence.
The action scenes are indeed cool. It's just the show as a whole is not very good for that reason.
Gotcha.
Cool action scene and more cool action scene.
Gotcha. Splitting the difference. Did you watch the Dragon Age animated series?
No. Is that on Netflix?
It's on Netflix, yeah.
Okay, my Netflix is turned off at the moment.
It was one of the last things I binged on Netflix.
My Netflix is turned off at the moment while I focus on watching all the things that are on Hulu.
Smart. Yeah, it was like the last thing I watched because I know a bunch of people who work for BioWare and I know they were super excited about it. And I'm like, I want to talk to you about this series. But also, I was, a big fan of Dragon Age. It's interesting. It's got a very similar style to Vox Machina, and does a good job of sort of picking up some video game stuff without explaining it too much to the audience. Because it's like, look, most of you have played this already. We're not going to get too much into it. But it's like expands a bit of lore. It's about a group of adventurers who are basically doing a heist on this castle in the French-ish area. Orlais.
Belen.
Yeah.
I think, or wherever.
But yeah, so they got to pull a heist on this mage's castle to grab an artifact, and then it goes wrong, and you get to see the group's various members as they are dealing with shit. And it gets very interesting with the mages and dragons, etc. Because of course, it's Dragon Age. Gotta have a dragon in there somewhere.
Did they kill Cullen and keep him out of the show?
Yeah, there's none of the characters that you've met before really are in there. Just some of the world.
He is a character that has been in every game, and I feel like he's not going to be in the next game, or they're going to recast it.
Hang on a second. My bird would like to go to bed. I'm just going to pop her in her cage. Okay, bird bedtimed.
Bird put to bed.
She was like hunkered down on my chair, half asleep, and then she finally was like, "Hey, I want to sleep in my actual bed." I went, okay, sorry, bird. She's very, she very much knows when her bedtime is.
Did daylight savings mess your birdie up?
No, because I adjust for it. So I don't put them to bed at their normal bedtime when it's daylight savings. I'll like adjust them to the time that they're used to, because otherwise they get all screwed up and grumpy AF. So I'm like, I just won't change you. I'll just put you to bed slightly late when it's winter and then slightly early when it's summer. I get screwed up by daylight savings though, because it's not a thing we ever had in Saskatchewan. They just unilaterally voted that it was a dumb idea and we were never going to do it. And we just never did.
Idea, and
we just never did. It was great.
Keeps trying to get rid of it, and then not.
It's a horrible idea, and I hate it.
We're not farmers.
No.
We don't need it.
No, that's what's funny about Saskatchewan, is even the farmers there were like, no, this is a bad idea. We hate it. We're not doing it.
Well, like, it was a good idea when you were using candles to...
Kind of. So, okay, I watched a podcast about it. Because I was all like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Daylight savings.
Inform me.
Yeah, and basically, so the initial idea about it was done by this entomologist who was like, I want to go and gather more bugs, but they are easiest to find like just before dawn or just after dawn, and I don't want to have to get up as early. So what if we switch time around? And then that was proposed, and people were like, yeah, that's dumb, we're not doing it. Proposed to British Parliament. But then, during the war, because it had been already on the books, and they were like, well, we heard about this at one point. Maybe we should redo that because we are running low on lantern oil and other sort of, like in World War I, they're like, we don't have a lot of oil to spare because of the war. So what if we went to this idea, and then there's more daylight for people during the winter hours, they don't have to use as much oil. And that's what actually got it signed into being. And then because England did it, of course, everyone else had to do it because that's how colonization works. And so, yeah, it's a weird entomologist's idea to catch more bugs that then got picked up as part of the war.
Because of capitalism.
Resource saving, basically. Yep. And no one thought it was a good idea. All the farmers were like, no, we don't like this at all. Especially if they're dairy farmers, because they're like, our cows don't change time. They still want to be milked at exactly the same moment every day, regardless of what it says on the clock.
Monsters.
Yep. We like to drink their weird juice. It's good. Tastes nice. We make butter out of it. Yeah, so that's daylight savings. It's weird. It's a very weird idea. Humans are weird for following it.
It's dumb.
Mm-hmm. Birds don't understand it or like it at all.
Most animals don't.
Yeah.
As we have discussed, I don't like or care about the MCU. But a podcast I listened to recently made audio commentary for the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, fascinating.
And they're like, sync it up with your Disney Plus, like it playing on Disney Plus, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what if I just listen to the commentary and don't watch the movie?
Right.
And that, I think, was the correct choice. I was far more entertained by doing that than I expect I would by the movie. Because it was funny because one of the people doing the commentary clearly thinks like me and did not like the movie.
Yeah.
And one person was just baffled that someone wouldn't like Doctor Strange nonsense. The person who was pro the Doctor Strange movie is like, my complaint that I wanted some deeper meaning going on in Vox Machina. That was host who didn't like the movies. complaint about the MCU in general and this Doctor Strange in particular. And then the thing that was the other host was very much like, he did the cool thing. Like, how can you not like watching him do the cool thing?
I have a weird take on Doctor Strange, because I watched it with Lane, who was a huge Doctor Strange fan, just generally. Like, he loved the comics, he loved the concept of this, like, mage solving problems with weird tricks. Because that's basically what all Doctor Strange stories in the comics boil down to, are like, well, there's always a thing out there with bigger and better powers than you, but if you can outsmart them, then your magic wins somehow. Although, of course, often there's the MacGuffin helps you win. Is a thing. But, so he was like, I really, really love the Doctor Strange portions of that movie, of which there are a few. They don't go hard enough into the Doctor Strange, Doctor Strange doing what he does. And then my big thing was like, but it's the first Marvel movie that I've been actively bored during one of the fight sequences. Because there's a bit where they're fighting basically all of the alternate versions of different heroes are getting killed by Scarlet Witch. And I'm just like, this is very boring. I know how this is going to end. I don't particularly care that we've had these cameos of all these various people, and it's very dumb just to see them get killed in stupid ways. I'm bored. I'm actually bored.
I'm frequently bored during Marvel fight scenes. That's why I stopped watching them. It's funny because I was thinking about what made me lose interest in the MCU and decide to stop watching. And it was Civil War. And then I thought about when I stopped reading superhero comics.
That's when the endless fight scenes got boring.
It is also when Civil War came out. Civil War is apparently how you make me lose interest in superheroes.
It's the point where you're like, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
I mean, Civil War was basically the, like, what if a bunch of these heroes fought in different ways? Which is the most boring part of the comics.
This is the thing, it's like, Civil War in the comics.
Yeah.
Not what it promised to be.
No. No, it's very much not.
Because it is a legitimate question of who is making sure that Captain America isn't abusing his power.
Yes. Yeah. Like, all of these superhumans wandering around with, like, unlimited power. It seems like bad.
But this isn't even, like, the fact that they exist. This is the fact that Captain America and the Avengers are going to other countries.
Yes.
To do
and
stuff.
fucking up their shit.
And, like, who's overseeing this?
Yes.
Like, I understand we don't want superheroes to be employees of the government.
No.
Because that could lead to problems.
Yeah.
But which is why
also with them being surface, like with the mutants,
it's an interesting conflict.
Oh yeah.
Because on the one hand, I don't trust the government to be in charge of superheroes.
Nope.
On the other hand, why is Captain America allowed to go wherever he wants and punch whoever he wants with no consequences?
Yup, that seems like a problem.
Like, both of those things are problems, so, like, the argument in Civil War the superheroes are having, I think, is an interesting argument.
Mm-hmm.
But instead
of having that, logical discussion.
Instead of having that be a complex, interesting story,
Mm-hmm.
it's superheroes, and you need a clear bad guy and a clear good guy.
Yes.
So in the comics, Captain America has plucky teen sidekicks, and the first person to side with Iron Man beats his wife.
Right, yeah. And you're like, okay, I see who's in the right here.
So, and, in the movie, the argument is thrown out the window in favor of Iron Man's mommy issues and,
Yup.
Captain America's boyfriend.
Yes.
And yeah.
There. So I was just getting my other birds out of the couch and into their beds because they also need to go to bed.
And the movies that I watched, the MCU movies I watched before Civil War, were some stuff like Ant-Man, where I liked the beginning of it, and then basically as soon as the big fight at the end started, I checked out.
Oh yeah. The beginning of Ant-Man's super fun because it's like, what if a heist film with superpowers? And that's cool. I like that.
But, you know, instead, what if they fought?
What if they fought though? And you're like,
stuff.
What if I was bored by that? What if punching
What if
wasn't
they
always
did
the solution?
Literally anything else.
Mm-hmm. Jumping back a tangent, that's also kind of what's boring about D&D stories, is that D&D is a game system in which the only really, like, it's very mechanically optimized for having big combats all the time. So the way to solve most things in D&D is to have a big fight about it that takes a very long time, which is not the most interesting story.
That was my problem playing D&D, is the answer to every conflict was we should
Just
fight.
fight it. Mm-hmm. But also, if you don't want to fight, if it's like, well, I want to do, like, this negotiation thing, it's like, well, okay, one roll, make your, persuade roll, and if you didn't make it, then I guess it's a big fight now. Whereas other game systems have a lot more interesting ways of resolving non-combat, resolving things in a non-combat way.
But we gotta fight.
We gotta fight about it. What if I do a spell, though, to make him just believe me? That's kind of like a fight.
They fought?
Yeah. What if we just chopped him with a sword?
Watching Vox Machina, I was definitely, while watching the first season, I was like, oh, they're really like channeling Vash the Stampede for Percy here.
Yes.
A lot of his fight animations is like he's Vash. And then they did the cool anime thing where his glasses cover his eyes.
I did love that. I do love my anime dude whose glasses cover his eyes at dramatic points. Also, well, no spoilers for season 2, but I like that Percy is Batman in season 1 and Vex is Batman in season 2, and Percy becomes less broody all the time.
I also understand why the guy who played Percy. So the bit of the Critical Role that I saw was the second campaign.
Mm.
And it's interesting to see, like, oh, they got bored of playing this type of character, or they like this type of character.
Oh yeah, I find that fascinating, even just in my own games.
Yeah. So like because the guy who plays Percy played pansexual fuck demon in
Yes.
the second campaign. And so it's like, all right, he got tired of being broody.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have some funds now.
Yep. He has to be one of the.
Clearly, the guy who played is Vex or Vax the boy.
I always forget.
Anyway, the boy elf.
I think Vex is the girl and Vax is the guy.
Okay, so anyway, the guy elf.
I'm gonna look it up.
I appreciate the theme song addressed that we don't know who they are. The guy elf, his player clearly loves that broody, sad backstory.
Oh yeah.
Because that is also his campaign to
Good
guy.
Good. Vex is the girl, Vax is the guy. I was correct. I do love a sibling pair up though in game, like not OTP or anything, but just I do like it when two players play siblings because it means that you have like a shared backstory and they can have an interesting relationship that's not just like I'm interested in this character. It's like no, these two are siblings. It's fine. You had a good, strong connection between them, but then they're not hooking up or anything. That's gross and weird.
Yeah. I did like in the first season after he got bit by the vampire, he was like, am I going to turn into a vampire?
Yes.
And they all dismissed him. But then he got mind controlled, so they maybe should have paid attention to the fact that he got bit.
He's like, is this a problem? This feels like it's a problem. That's very D&D game though. This like, hey, this feels like it's going to be a problem. Is it? And then you forget about it for several games, and then it does, and you're like, oh shit, yeah, it was a problem.
I remember talking to someone about if I was gonna run a Monster of the Week game. I was gonna do all the monsters that you fought were based off Sailor Moon villains.
Oh, good. I like that.
But then the overall plot would be like, what if instead of the three kings, or the four kings, Queen Beryl had the Sailor Scouts as her evil minions?
Oh, good.
And how that would be different. So, I was saying to my buddy Kevin that basically what I would do is the Sailor Mercury of the bad guy team, who's going to be putting little like steel energy plots all over the place, but they wouldn't be immediately obvious that they were a thing. That the it would be like if the players ignored it, then they would all pop up at once and cause the players problems.
Right. But if they started dealing with them,
because the problem with Jedi is he went full force on all his energy stealing plans right away.
Oh no, yeah.
If he had played the long game and got everyone to buy all the dumb fads that he was into.
Man, that first season of Sailor Moon before the other Sailor Scouts join is really just like Usagi running around doing the same plot over and over and over again.
She only does that for a couple of episodes.
Yeah.
There's only 5 episodes where it's just her. And
then you start getting the rest of the Sailor Scouts, and then it gets rad. Yes.
Then you get Mercury and her fighting Jedi, but they still only do that for like
a couple episodes. Yeah, and then the rest of them join pretty quickly.
And you do have just Mars, Mercury, and Moon against Jedi for a while. I think
Before
Jedi
Sailor
actually
V.
last longer than any of the other Kings of Heaven.
Think so?
Because they want to establish the dynamic of just Moon, and then just Mercury, and then just and then the trio.
Yeah. A good sound effect crack.
And then my sister's in my chat telling me things I already know about the Sailor Moon manga.
Oh, good. Excellent.
That Mars burns Jedi to ash as soon as she shows up.
Excellent.
And also, Nephrite gets lightning bolted to death as soon as he shows up, and Jupiter shows up.
Good.
They all die really quickly in the manga.
Yeah.
And then they turn into rocks, and then Mamoru has them as rocks and sometimes talks to their ghosts.
That's cool.
Because they're all named after rocks.
They are.
All the Sailor Moon villains are rocks.
You could do a Sailor Moon Steven Universe crossover very easily.
Oh, but then the Crystal Gems would have to be the bad guys.
I know.
They're rocks.
Yeah. Or the Sailor Scouts are the bad guys. They just keep fucking up all of the Steven stuff.
Here's the thing, though. That crossover would not last they wouldn't fight for very long, because Usagi and Steven do have the same solution to everything.
They have the same
which is
problem-solving skills.
Be friends.
Correct.
Be friends. It's funny. I was listening to a Sailor Moon podcast, where two dudes were watching Sailor Moon, and they get to when Uranus and Neptune show up, and they're like, "We should kill this 12-year-old," and Sailor Moon is like, "What? No, that's you can't do that." And Uranus is all like, "Listen, sometimes you got to make tough choices. You can't save everyone." And like, it's funny because Uranus's argument is correct if she was in any other manga. But because she is in Sailor Moon, the answer is wrong. Friendship will triumph.
Yes, correct. She's just not genre aware. You gotta be genre aware.
And they, because the guys that were doing the podcast were X-Men fans, they dubbed Uranus and Neptune the X-Force of the...
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
They're the X-Force of the team. They're Cable and...
yes.
Though really, if you think about it, Chibiusa is Cable.
Yeah, that's true.
Chibiusa's many war crimes.
Mm-hmm.
There's that part where she holds a gun to Usagi's head, and that is a war crime.
Yep. I do like the design for the Dark Lady, though. It's very good.
Yeah.
Very here for it. Okay, I'm not going to actually use those. I'm going to come back in and vectorize those. Just doing some sound effects.
Also, since Emerald City, I've been listening to Manga Splaining, which is Chris Butcher, Deb Oki, and David Brothers, all getting Chip Zdarsky to read manga.
Amazing. Amazing.
And what I like about it is they are doing a wide variety of manga. They're not just sticking to like one genre or tone.
Nice.
Because they had episode 1 was Akira, because you gotta read Akira.
Yep.
And then episode 2 was Delicious in Dungeon.
Oh, nice.
Which is getting an anime, and they better keep all the fan service with the dwarf.
Yep. Also, I'm really looking forward to it because I really love anime food porn. Like, it's just the best. But I don't want porn with my food porn, so I cannot watch the other cooking one, where all their clothes fly off all the time. I tried watching that for the glorious food, and I'm like, this is too horny for me. I do not like it.
I don't know that one.
I'm trying to remember what it's called. I'm just googling anime food clothes fly off. What is it called? Food Wars.
Okay.
Food Wars. Beautiful food. Utterly gloriously rendered food. Far too horny.
So yeah, so they reviewed Delicious in Dungeon, and then they reviewed Way of the House Husband.
Oh yes.
And then they reviewed this one called Even Though We're Adults, which is about a married lady hooks up with a lesbian at a gay bar for a one-night stand. And it follows both of these women's reactions to their one-night stand.
Oh, interesting.
So you have, like, the lesbian being like, man, I can't believe I fell for some flighty, wishy-washy straight chick again. Like,
yeah.
Just my luck. Like, this has clearly happened to her before.
Mm-hmm.
She has been used by people looking to experiment a little bit, but not commit to anything. Meanwhile, the married lady's like, oh my god, I think I don't like men because I've never felt this way when with my husband. My whole life is a lie. What should I do now that I have this information? And she like spirals and panics. Because now her whole life is up in the air. And then they like read Rose of Versailles, so they got like super shoujo-y. Good. The episode I was listening to before we started this is them talking about one of my favorites, which is Vinland Saga.
That's a good one.
Have you read that?
Yeah.
That one's good.
That's good.
Next they're gonna do Golden Kamui, so I'm like excited about that. Have you read that?
No, I've heard it's quite good.
That also has anime food porn, and there are naked dudes in it instead of naked ladies.
That's the thing. Food Wars. It's very horny, but it's very everybody's clothes fly off. If the food is good enough, everyone naked. It does happen more to the women, though.
Kamui is, a friend of mine summed it up as, it is the only anime where I don't know anyone's birthday and blood type. But I do know how big everyone's dick is.
Golden Kamui, the anime with all the D.
Yeah. Yes. There is a part where they have otter meat, and I guess otter meat is an aphrodisiac. Because they then get super horny and have to wrestle with each other to work off their horniness frustration after eating otter meat.
Don't you? Come on. Just some homoerotic wrestling.
Yeah.
Good.
The plot of Golden Kamuy, do you know the plot of it?
No.
Okay, the plot is that main character is a veteran of the Russian-Japanese War.
Right.
And he is trying to he's panning for gold in a river at the very start because it's like he promised to take care of his friend from the army's wife if his friend didn't make it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So he is trying to get gold to support his, like, comrade in arms widow.
Right.
He runs into an Ainu girl who is like, so my dad was imprisoned by the Japanese, had a bunch of gold, hid it, was imprisoned by the Japanese government because he wouldn't tell them where it was.
Right.
And he made a map of where the gold is via tattoos he gave to the other prisoners. So what we have to do is we have to find all the guys that were imprisoned with my dad, and then we can use the gold to, like,
put a map together. Yeah.
He can take some of it for helping her to take care of his friend's widow, but she's gonna use the gold to help her tribe like rebuild and maybe modernize.
That's fascinating.
A little bit.
That's fascinating. You generally don't get a lot of recognition for Japan's indigenous people in, like, mainstream Japanese media.
And the guy who wrote it, he, like, has an Ainu consultant, like,
cool.
he talks to as he does everything.
Right.
Yeah,
y'all,
so
hire indigenous consultants.
It's very good. And so a lot of the food porn part is she knows how to, like, use the local wildlife to, like, make all these dishes that aren't traditional Japanese dishes in that sense. So she is exposing him to food that he would not normally eat. A lot of the time she's trying to get him to eat animal brains.
Yep.
But it's stuff like bear meat, like how to do all this stuff. So that's why there's the bit with them eating otter.
Oh, gotcha.
Because they're in the wilderness, and she's trying to teach him to, like, eat every part of the animal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, it's very good. Some of the faces are fucking great. Like,
excellent.
A+ comedy drawing faces. And it's like a more realistic, detailed style, so you would not expect some of these
the goofy faces
that the
excellent
people makes. Yeah.
I do love a goofy anime face.
So yeah, but then you get, like, the food porn of them, like, preparing all the dishes.
Yeah.
And they get joined by some of the convicts that were in prison with this girl's dad. But then, like, the villain is he was a general in the army during the Japanese-Russian War, and he's like, the government has abandoned all of its veterans, so I want the gold to, like, overthrow the government and build social programs.
Good.
Sounds good until
sounds
he gets into the details, and then you find out, I mean, he's just a lunatic.
Okay, great. There you go. Social programs, great.
Like, it's like, you understand why people are on his side, because if you only get the Cliff Notes version of his goal, that
it does sound very good.
Especially if you're one of the veterans that has been abandoned by the Japanese government. But then his plan is, well, convicts are a waste of space, so we should just kill them and skin them, and then we can make the map out of their skinned bodies. Like,
well, that is a crime. That is a crime. Don't do that, sir.
He's like, it won't be a crime if we overthrow the government. He's like, treason is already a crime, so in for a penny, in for a pound.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, so there's definitely like he says like make social programs, but like because he thinks criminals are disposable, it also begs the question of, well, who else does he think is disposable?
Yeah.
But it's also full of very well drawn hot guys. And as I stated earlier, you do know all their dick sizes by the end of the...
I have been watching more Spy X Family. It's very, very cute. I enjoy it a lot.
Yep.
It's very
Did you
good.
get to the best character, Bond?
Yes, Bond is in the series now, and I love him.
Love Bond. Bond's very good.
So good. I love his little boots.
Mm-hmm.
I like the whole storyline where they got him. That was great.
Yeah. I think it's funny that the creator does not care about his story.
Nope.
Nope.
It's like, whatever. We're here to... I'll mention it once. We're done now. Now he's just giant cute dog.
Yep. No, he can still see the future.
That's fine.
That does come up.
Every once in a while.
Yeah.
It's very good, though. I also have Chainsaw Man on my list. I've seen the first episode. Gotta jump into that harder. It's been very good so far.
You know about
No, 2 episodes. 2 episodes.
His goal is to eat toast with jam.
Yeah. And at the end, he's actually eating it, and he's like so happy. It's the best.
Yeah. Apparently, his figurine, like the little Nedroid figurines that they put out, came with. If you pre-ordered it, it came with what was dubbed the ultimate toast.
Oh, good.
And it was toast with like 5 different types of jam on it.
Yes. I like that for this boy. I'm glad that he has his toast.
He's a dum-dum.
He's very dumb.
He's a good
it's
dum-dum.
very good.
He's a good dum-dum. Other dum-dums, I liked the barbarian in Vox Machina.
Yeah, Grog is good. Also, like, the voice acting for all of them is very good, but I love a good dumb voice acting. Like, voice acting for a dumb character. Mwah, beautiful.
Chef's kiss.
Yup.
Still thinking about that pizza robot.
Oh god, there's that one episode where they're falling and Scanlan does like some kind of spell where there's these jelly bits. And he falls, and then they have like a serious conversation for a moment. At the end is just a cut of Grog snapping the jelly bits and going, "Good thing these titties are here." And that one got me like nothing else in that series. I laughed for like a full minute. It was amazing.
I like Scanlan's character a lot. Like,
Yeah.
he could very easily be annoying. But they toe the line with him pretty well.
They do. He gets some good character moments in season 2 as well.
Also,
Season 1's very Percy-centric.
This is also maybe just me being biased. But while watching it, I was thinking, Real hero shit is better.
It's real good. If you haven't read it, y'all, get yourself Real Hero Shit.
Real hero
It's fun.
shit is really good.
It's very fun.
Kendra is.
Oh, the art is so good. It's so good, y'all.
Kendra is drawing the second volume right now. It's super good. I love it. Gonna have some hot tiefling elf action.
Mm-hmm. Which of my letters is turned on? Oh, it's that one.
There was a discussion on if we're gonna see Eugene's dick. It was an important discussion.
Yep. Whoa, your new mic is so good. I just heard the pen glide across your tablet.
Oh.
That's cool.
It's Electo Wave.
It's some drawing ASMR for y'all.
It came with a bunch of fiddly things. But yeah, crystal clear shit.
Nice.
So Geek Show, our icons, like the mouths move.
Yep.
When we talk.
Yep, I love that.
But it's just based on sound. And since my mic frequently, even my old mic would pick up the tapping of my
oh, gotcha.
pen, it would just look like my character was flapping its mouth.
I have my little PNG tuber set up, and it doesn't seem to be sensitive enough to. Yeah, I'm drawing with my pen now, but the beak isn't moving. So that's good.
Well, the PNG tuber is, I think, based on your face.
No, it's just got a video. I don't have my camera set up, so it's just purely what mic do you want me to use, and then it'll sit there and just whenever there's input, flap the mouth, and then it does like an auto blink, which is really fun. So it just blinks randomly even when you're not talking.
Keep thinking of getting a PNG tuber that is my little wolf mascot.
Good. That's all I did. It's just my little bird mascot. It's very fun to make. Just a simple 2-frame animation and then a blink.
Time.
Yeah.
Time is the enemy.
Time is the enemy.
In that Vampire Accountant series I was telling you about, he has loaned a magic device that stops time in a room for and so when the elves give it to him, like, they want him to teach this business class because, like, the prince of the elves has to take it.
Right.
And they're like, and he's like, I have a small business to run. I can't teach and run a small business. And they're like, well, in exchange for you doing this, we'll also let you use this thing. And they're like, but make sure it's only you in here. Because as a vampire who does not get older, if you go in here and don't come out for 100 years, fine.
Right.
If you bring a human friend in here,
they will die. That's a problem.
Yeah, they'll age 100 years. Did you see my message about a date to redo the live reading?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And it works for you?
Yeah. I will admit, the very first episode of Chainsaw Man made me want toast. Just like after I watched Beastars for like a week, I was like, I want a damn egg sandwich. Oh man, that looks so good. Ethical considerations about eating a food that has come out of one of your classmates' butts aside, the egg sandwiches in that show look great. They look so fluffy. They look delicious.
Listen, she is compensated.
She is, and she was one of my favorite characters in the entire series. Yeah. She's one of my favorite characters in the entire series. That chicken, the best. She just wants to make the best eggs possible.
Well, I feel like... Okay, so... Legoshi's wanting to fuck a rabbit in that series is treated as a perversion, and like that is a fetish that is socially unacceptable. But like Chicken Lady's obsession with making perfect eggs is just as weird.
It super is, but she's just like...
But it is a socially acceptable obsession.
Because other people can profit off of it. Because other people enjoy the eggs.
Right, but like the way that she won't like go to the movies or like enjoy the rest of her life
is
like,
weird.
In favor of making these perfect eggs, like I think if Legoshi is a metaphor for like being queer or some sort of, obviously the stuff like isn't one-to-one.
No, it's very not. There's a whole point where I was like, this feels like a queer analogy, but also what the fuck?
Yeah, like you talk about Legoshi's attraction to Haru as like a queer metaphor or an interracial couple metaphor. I feel like the chicken's obsession with perfect eggs is kind of like an eating disorder, or yeah, cause like that is a thing that society, part of the problem with someone who is bulimic or anorexic when they start,
the societal pressures are saying this is good.
Them at first.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and in fact, the societal pressures are often what leads to the eating disorder in the first place.
Yeah. So like. Yeah. She has like, or you could compare it to being a workaholic.
Yeah.
Like that is also a problem, but it is one that society rewards.
Mm-hmm. That one's actually a really good analogy for the chicken, because she's like, no, I'm going to be obsessed single-mindedly with this one thing.
I just went with the like eating disorder one because she's so obsessive about her health.
Yeah.
And exercise. In favor of this one goal that it read to me as
but also it's seen as laudable, like, because she's like, yes, this is what is expected in society, is to be contribute to society in a meaningful way, in a way that other people can benefit from, and to seek perfection in what you do.
Also, I think the chicken is the author's self-insert.
Excellent.
Because if you look at the author page, she always has the chicken hat on.
Excellent. Listen, if you're going to write yourself in as any creature, do be a good chicken. Just a weird chicken.
So maybe what I'm saying is the eggs are manga?
And she's a workaholic. But people allowed her for it.
Yes.
What we're saying is that our diligence leads to many
problems.
Fresh butt nuggets, but that you can make delicious food out of. I don't know where that analogy is going, and neither does Beastars.
No, Beastars knows exactly where it's going. It's going to talk about eugenics.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
Have you
in really uncomfortable ways. No.
Oh yeah. No, the manga is like, clearly the author thinks like I do, because as soon as it's like, here's Legoshi, he's a wolf, here's Jack, he's a dog.
Yeah.
There are no people in this world.
How did you get a domesticated wolf?
Yeah. And the answer is that eugenics is how they got dogs, and there's Jack finds out that maybe the government is having a eugenics program to breed world leaders.
Oh boy.
He gets put in a special class for the top 5 students. And all of the top 5 students are dogs.
Right. Well, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And dogs aren't feared by society. They are. Everyone loves them.
Yeah. So it's like they have carnivore instincts, but herbivores aren't scared of them.
Yeah.
So they're getting into some...
Dogs are the ubermensch. I hate it. I hate it. Yeah. That's so weird. Beastars are such a weird show, and your analogies are very unsettling.
Well, I feel like it's because they're not analogies. She's just taking animal society to its logical conclusion.
Yeah. Japan's Kevin and Kel is fucked right up.
I need to read Baki, which is the boxing manga by the Beastar lady's dad.
Oh, interesting.
And it's one of those things where if you compare her artwork in Beastars to Grappler Baki's artwork, you can kind of see, oh, yeah, she does kind of draw like her dad.
Interesting. I wonder if she, helped out when she was little, and that's kind of developed her style.
Well, I feel like it's just those are probably the first mangas she ever saw.
Yeah, probably. And I'm sure it was all over the house too. If you're working on pages,
yeah.
They're gonna be everywhere.
Basically Grappler Baki is about boxer MMA fighter who his father is the most powerful creature on Earth.
Okay.
Not man.
Nope.
Creature.
Fascinating.
So he wants to surpass his dad.
In power.
And this is just from Iris telling me what it's about.
Gotcha.
Apparently the secret to Dad's power is respecting women juice.
Excellent. Good.
So, to be the most powerful creature on Earth, you gotta be a wife guy.
Good. Love it. Good.
I just think I'm just the plot isn't what intrigues me. It's more to see what she picked up from her dad.
Yeah.
What she didn't
I gotta ask Iris why I haven't heard why there's no BattleBots this week, but there's been a whole bunch of stuff that I usually watch that is nope, not this week. I'm there's not spring break or anything. Why are all the shows not on? I haven't figured it out yet. Iris has got the good BattleBots hookups though.
Yeah. Why aren't the bots battling?
I want the robots to battle. I desperately want to see a robot smash into another robot and then for parts to go flying. It's my favorite thing in the world. Maybe aside from birds.
What if the bots were birds?
Drone battles wouldn't be as interesting. I do like the big heavy robots to smash into each other. There's been a couple teams that have tried to run a drone team, and it's gone poorly. They're not heavy enough to do any damage. If y'all don't know about my BattleBots obsession, I've been watching it for many seasons.
I feel like I saw it 10 years ago, and then when we watched it at Emerald City.
That's so good. It came back 6 years ago, maybe more. And every season since then has been fire. It's just been getting better and better. But I was also used to watch Robot Wars, which is the British version, and it's much cheesier and much lower budget. Like they don't have the same sort of exhibition style playoffs. Like it doesn't feel as much of a sport. It feels more like what BattleBots used to be, which is just this like, here's some nerds doing a nerdy thing. It's kind of fun to watch.
Nero is in my chat, Alina, and has an answer.
Ooh.
They are gearing up for the finale, so that is why there's a break in the BattleBots.
That makes sense. I am excited for the finale, even if it means no more BattleBots for a while. Thank you, Nero.
Thank you for this knowledge.
I do need BattleBots in my life, but it's good to know.
Are they saying that they're already done the regular season?
Yeah, they're gearing up for the finale now, for the final playoffs. So they're giving the teams time to like.
I thought there was still one more.
Maybe there is one more episode.
One more regular, yeah.
But they're taking a quick little break. Okay, snow. A lot of snow. I have the new Clip Studio 2. I love it.
My sister is asking, but do I have a BattleBots Botsona? No, and I'm not going to because I don't really like to draw robots and I don't got time for that.
I have a robot Sona. It's a perfect sphere. It's very easy to draw. Oh, that's not my snow brush. Where's my snow?
I don't got time for Sonas.
Right?
I don't think I've ever drawn a whatever Sona, like, as they've come and gone.
I think I drew a witch Sona back in the day. That was fun.
Time.
I mean,
no,
I've drawn
I will never draw a robot horse. No.
I've drawn my D&D characters plenty, which are sort of like
before I draw a robot horse.
Okay, if I have time at the end of this drawing, I am going to try to draw a robot horse in like a minute. Maybe 2. Just to see.
Actually, maybe a robot horse would be easier than a regular horse, because I can just, like, give it straight legs and then wheels at the bottom.
Yeah.
It'll look
you
like
have to
one of
deal
the
with their legs.
Wooden horses.
They're weird horse legs.
No articulation in the legs.
Particle size smaller. Okay. That works for me. Alright, that's good enough on this page. I'm gonna draw a robot horse, y'all.
Good luck.
Let's see how this goes.
I was watching a YouTube video the other day, where someone was talking about the Rings of Power show and people that are mad that Galadriel is a warrior. And this person was like, listen, there are problems with Galadriel if you want to be accurate to the books. And the answer is, those problems are mainly that she is not giant, and amazing. The problem is not that she's a warrior. The problem is that this person they cast as her is just so tiny.
Yeah.
And but then they
But
use it as
also,
a jumping off point.
weirdly young looking for Galadriel. Like, Galadriel is super fucking old at this point. I don't know if she's an elf. But she looks younger than the Cate Blanchett version.
But she's so tiny. Is
She's
this
so small.
person's like
They're trying to
main
do a
complaint.
she's younger
She's too
thing.
tiny.
Yeah.
Even though she's like still 5,000 years old.
Yeah. Lane says that she is 5,000 years old when this story takes place.
Does she keep getting taller while she's in the human world, and that's how
Maybe.
she becomes Cate Blanchett?
Maybe.
No, anyway, so,
I mean, that's rough.
but this person then used it as a jumping off point of, like, the diversity in, that there is a problem with the diversity in the, Rings of Power show, and that problem is that there's a race problem in the source material, and you can't really fix that if you still want to tie it to Peter Jackson's Tolkien.
I mean,
because it's weird stuff like the orcs all had Cockney accents, and the
that's not race though. That's class.
Like, that's class, but also like the guard elves are the ones that are black, not Galadriel's type of elf. Like,
Yeah.
so it's like a weird mix of class and race.
That also may be a, like, they're trying to show that the wood elves are different than the not Sindarin.
The high
Come on,
elves
Brand.
or
Yeah.
whatever they're called.
Yeah. But by making them the only black ones, that's not the way to do it.
Yeah. So it's kind of like there's race problems and there's class problems that they're inheriting to the source material. Which is why they mentioned
only major
the
dark
Cockney
elf.
accents in the but yeah, so and this person is also like, I wish the black dwarf lady had a beard.
Yeah. I love her though. Tisa's the best character. Very delightful. This horseback leg is not working for me.
Their main takeaway was that they were like, I can't wait for her to be in the public domain. Cause The Hobbit, it's not gonna be that long.
No. There's kind of an exhaust pipe. Vroom.
What?
This horse goes vroom. The horse has an exhaust pipe coming out of its tail.
Oh, yeah.
Horse go vroom. Put wheels on the back. So I'm almost out of my 2 minutes I allotted. There, it's a wheelie horse. Robot horse. Go
Send it to
vroom.
me in Discord so I can share with my stream.
My 2 minute horse goes vroom. Robot. Okay. It's very bad, I love it.
Send it. I forgot that the last time we streamed, I was telling you about Puss in Boots and sharing gifts.
Oh yeah, so
I'm just
Puss in Boots is
looking
in
at our
our
conversation, and it's just all Puss in Boots gifts. Tiny weird dog.
Where is the horse? There's the horse. Boom.
Me, the horse. There we go.
Have a horse.
Here you go, stream. Horse. This is way more complicated than what I was going to do with the robot horse. The robot horse's legs are just going to go straight down. Because if it's got wheels, those legs don't need to articulate.
That's true. I was going to try to do some weird, like, cyber back legs, and then I ran out of my time, and I was like, fuck it, put a wheel on him. It's a wheel horse now. Those front legs would have to go real fast while the back wheels are going. Have to gallop real good. That was fun. I'm about done my allotted pages for tonight. How are you feeling?
Doing alright.
Cool.
I think I'm mostly... I got like one more panel to do, but it's a face.
Gotcha.
So that won't take long.
I guess I gotta do
Twitter
the
is
on this
getting
one.
rid of two-factor
Factor
authentication.
That's not great.
You gotta pay for it now.
Yep. What if we have to pay for just standard security features? That seems bad.
I feel like because there was that day when everyone was getting told that they've hit their tweet allotment for the day or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like that's next.
Oh, for sure.
Which I barely do like 2 or 3 a day, so that
Yeah.
will be fine for me, but like...
Oh no, that will be the death of Twitter. Like, people will be like, well, fuck this
Yeah.
then, I'm out, I'm done, I'm super over this.
Yeah. That will be what gets Spike to finally leave Twitter.
Yeah.
When the Briarwood showed up in Vox Machina, I was like, oh, they're vampire. Are they vampires? Yep, they're vampires.
They're vampires. They're super duper vampires. I am always amused when Matt Mercer comes on doing one of sort of his iconic voices, because of course he did all of the NPC voices, but now they've gotten like, they're like,
Now they have a
yeah.
cast and...
Now they have a cast, so like he's still doing the vampire dude, but they're like, what if we got somebody else to play the lady that you were playing before? And he's like, yes, great, please.
And they got Azula to do it.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, season 2 has some great voice acting. There's some great, like the who's who of voice actors. There's some real good voices. I haven't tried the new auto shade feature in Clip, but I was playing around with some of the new paint tools, and they're very good.
I haven't installed the new Clip Studio yet. I did buy it, but I didn't want it to like fuck up a file I'm already working on.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
So I was gonna wait till I was done with the City Between story I'm currently working on.
Yeah, smart. I was in between projects anyway, because I'd basically put my comics work like this on hold to do that animation project. and it came out the day after I was done the animation project, and I was like, fuck, I'm not going on my computer today. And then I saw that Clip Studio was out, and I was like, I do want to buy that though. So I bought it, and then I played with it for like 20 minutes. I went, this is fun. I should stop working. Too long already.
I do want to check out the hand thing.
Yeah, that's really cool. For anyone who hasn't seen it, you can set up a camera and then tell Clip Studio to do whatever your hand does, and it'll take the 3D model of the hand and do whatever your hand is doing. So you can get like perfect pose reference without having to fuck around with the little 3D model with all of its many joint splines, which takes forever. Put the sound effect on its own layer. So I can do an effect to it.
In my fan Discord, we watched the movie Cursed.
Oh yeah?
Which is not a good movie. But it is an entertaining movie. I'm going to share with you what it is, its biggest contribution to society. And that is a GIF that's on Discord.
Excellent.
There
Oh, is
we
it a
go.
werewolf? Hell yes. That is an
The
excellent
werewolf
GIF.
giving the middle finger.
In a
So,
lightning storm. Good.
Oh no, that's just like police car lights.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
flashing.
I love it.
So yeah, so this is not the new movie Cursed. This is the old movie Cursed from 2005. It stars Christina Ricci and her brother, played by Jesse Eisenberg, get bit by werewolves. And then nonsense ensues. This
Excellent.
GIF is the perfect encapsulation of the tone of this movie.
Good.
It is directed by Wes Craven. It's also interesting because I feel like there are the beats of a movie that are good in there. And the tone is very on point. The tone is always that werewolf giving the finger.
Excellent.
But the plot beats are not quite working. And it is interesting because, like, you can see the beats being there, they're just not connecting the dots the way they should script-wise. So one of the things in this movie that it adds to its werewolf lore is, in the movie you can become a werewolf by having sex with a werewolf. And since werewolfism wants to spread, when you become a werewolf in this movie, everyone wants to fuck you. Which, fine, that's, you know, do what works for your movie.
Yeah.
So you have nerdy Justin Eisenberg character, likes popular cheerleader girl, because it's a horror movie with teens in it. He does some feat of strength with his newfound werewolf power to impress her. The rest of the movie happens, and then she shows up, and it's like, you have survived a horror movie. Here is your consolation, girlfriend. And it's like, we didn't establish that she actually likes him.
Yeah.
We just established that she cheered him when he did a cool strength thing.
Right.
You forgot some things. Granted, there are things that they had to go fight a werewolf, so like other plot had to happen. But like, if you were gonna give him the consolation prize girlfriend at the end, like, maybe should have built that part up more.
Yeah. Instead of having it come out of nowhere and people be like, "What?"
Yeah, and then there's a bully character who says a bunch of homophobic slurs at the nerdy guy. And it then, in a twist, quote unquote, that was very popular in the mid 2000s, homophobic bully turns out to be gay. So he also wants to fuck Jesse Eisenberg.
Gotcha.
And that is why he is bullying Jesse Eisenberg, maybe?
That was like early 2000s, sort of like, ooh, socially progressive, look at this.
It's the way to have their homophobia cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they reveal that bully is gay, and main character is like, I'm not gay. Jesse Eisenberg is like, I'm not gay, but good for you. And then bully helps them fight the werewolf. And then they're just friends at the end. And I feel like, again, there should have been more steps. Before we're gonna go hang out and be friends.
We're just buddies now. It's fine.
Yeah. I'm done with my page.
Cool. I'm just randomly doodling now, so I'm good whenever.
And I did it just in time. There's 20 seconds left before 10 p.m.
Excellent.
Thank you everyone for watching the stream. All of my things are on kelmcdonald.com. And Alina, where can people find your things?
You can find my stuff at alinapete.com, but I also have to shout out the trailer for the sci-fi series I've been working on for the past 2 years as a writer. Is finally available. So if you want to check it out, I've dropped it in the link in my chat. Kel, actually, I'll just post it in our Discord if you want to jump it in your chat too. The more people who watch this, the more we can show studios that we got some buzz behind us. So we're going to be taking this proof of concept trailer around and shopping it to like Netflix and Amazon Prime soon. So go watch it. We want some good numbers. Tell everybody know about it.
Here we go. Go watch the trailer.
It's real cool.
Thanks everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.